While the world saw Dean Martin as the king of cool, the FBI knew him as Agent Dino, their most valuable undercover asset inside the Las Vegas mob. His secret spy work brought down an entire criminal empire. It began with a phone call that would change Dean Martin's life forever. On March 3, 1966, Dean received a call at his Beverly Hills home from someone who identified himself only as Agent Morrison from the Federal Bureau of Investigation. "Mr. Martin," the voice said, "we need to meet. There's a matter of national security that requires your unique assistance." Dean had never received a call like this before, and his initial reaction was suspicion. In the entertainment industry, elaborate pranks were common, and Dean thought this might be Frank Sinatra or one of his other Rat Pack friends playing an elaborate joke. "If this is Frank, it's not funny," Dean said into the phone. "This is not a joke, Mr. Martin," Agent Morrison replied seriously. "We're calling because your position in Las Vegas entertainment makes you uniquely valuable to an ongoing federal investigation. Lives are at stake." The meeting took place 2 days later in a discreet government office in downtown Los Angeles. Dean arrived expecting to find either FBI agents or evidence that this was an elaborate prank. What he found instead was Agent Robert Morrison, a serious professional federal investigator who presented Dean with evidence of organized crime activities that shocked even someone who had spent years in Las Vegas. "Mr. Martin," Agent Morrison explained, "we've been investigating organized crime operations in Las Vegas for the past 4 years. We have evidence of money laundering, extortion, murder, and other serious federal crimes. But we need someone on the inside to help us gather the evidence necessary for prosecutions." Morrison showed Dean photographs, surveillance reports, and documentation that revealed the extent of mob influence in Las Vegas entertainment venues. The evidence was overwhelming, and it was clear that Dean had unknowingly been performing for audiences that included some of the most dangerous criminals in America. "What exactly are you asking me to do?" Dean asked. "We're asking you to become our eyes and ears inside the Vegas entertainment community," Morrison explained. "You have access to private parties, business meetings, and social situations where these criminals feel comfortable talking openly. We need you to report what you see and hear." Dean's first instinct was to refuse. He was an entertainer, not a spy, and the idea of secretly working against people he had considered friends and colleagues was deeply unsettling. But Morrison's next revelation changed Dean's perspective completely. "Mr. Martin, these people aren't just stealing money or running illegal gambling operations," Morrison said. "They're involved in human trafficking, drug distribution to minors, and they've ordered at least 12 murders in the past 2 years. One of their recent victims was a 19-year-old cocktail waitress who threatened to expose their operations." The mention of a young woman being murdered for threatening to expose criminal activity triggered something protective in Dean's character. He thought about his own daughter and the other young people working in Las Vegas who might be vulnerable to these predators. "What would I have to do?" Dean asked quietly. "Nothing that would compromise your safety or your career," Morrison assured him. "Just observe, listen, and report. We would provide you with secure communication methods and ensure that your identity as our asset remained completely protected." Dean Martin's decision to work with the FBI was not made lightly, but it was made definitively. "If these people are hurting innocent kids, I want to help stop them," Dean told Morrison. "What do I need to know?" Dean's training as an FBI informant was conducted in complete secrecy over several weeks. He learned how to recognize criminal conversations, how to remember details accurately, and how to communicate information to federal agents without arousing suspicion. Most importantly, he learned how to maintain his normal persona while secretly gathering intelligence. The FBI gave Dean the code name Agent Dino, and they established protocols for regular contact that would never interfere with his entertainment career. Dean would report information through coded phone calls, discreet meetings, and a sophisticated communication system that allowed him to pass intelligence without any obvious contact with law enforcement. Dean's first assignment was to attend a private party hosted by Vincent "Big Vince" Torino, a known organized crime figure who regularly socialized with Las Vegas entertainers. The FBI suspected that Torino was using these social gatherings to coordinate criminal activities, but they needed proof of specific illegal planning. Dean attended Torino's party as he normally would, but with new awareness of the conversations happening around him. What he discovered was even more disturbing than the FBI had suspected. Torino and his associates were openly discussing plans to expand their operations into child trafficking and forced prostitution. "The kids coming in from Mexico are perfect for our operations," Dean heard Torino tell another man. "They're desperate, they don't speak English, and they have no one to help them if they try to escape." Dean memorized every detail of the conversation and reported it to Agent Morrison the next day. The information provided crucial evidence for federal investigations that were already underway, but it also revealed the scope of criminal activities that went far beyond what anyone had imagined. Over the following months, Dean's undercover work expanded beyond passive observation. The FBI began using him to gather specific intelligence about planned criminal activities, money laundering operations, and the organizational structure of Las Vegas organized crime families. Dean's entertainment career provided perfect cover for his spy activities. When he traveled to perform in different cities, he could attend meetings with FBI agents without arousing suspicion. When he socialized with suspected criminals, his presence was expected and welcome. His natural charm and likability made people comfortable sharing information around him. But Dean's double life also created enormous personal stress. He was constantly aware that discovery would mean certain death, not just for himself, but potentially for his family. The criminals he was investigating had demonstrated their willingness to murder anyone who threatened their operations, and Dean understood that his spy activities represented an ultimate threat. The psychological toll of Dean's undercover work was significant. He had to maintain friendships with people he knew were involved in horrific crimes. He had to smile and socialize with individuals who he knew had ordered murders. Most difficult of all, he had to continue performing for audiences that he knew included some of the most dangerous people in America. Some nights on stage, I would look out into the audience and wonder which of those smiling faces belonged to murderers. Dean confided to Agent Morrison during one of their meetings. It was like performing in a room full of predators. Dean's intelligence gathering led to several major breakthroughs in federal investigations. His reports provided evidence that resulted in arrests, convictions, and the dismantling of criminal operations that had been destroying lives throughout the Southwest. One of Dean's most valuable contributions was information about a planned assassination of a federal judge who was scheduled to preside over an organized crime trial. Dean overheard the planning conversation during a private dinner and was able to alert the FBI in time to prevent the murder and arrest the would-be assassins. Agent Dino's intelligence saved that judge's life. Agent Morrison later reported, "Without his information, we would have had no warning about the assassination plot." But Dean's spy work also put him in increasing danger as federal investigations began to produce arrests and convictions. Criminal organizations became increasingly paranoid about informants, and began implementing security measures designed to identify and eliminate FBI assets. Dean's closest call came during a private meeting where criminal leaders had become suspicious about information leaks. Dean found himself in a room with 5 known murderers who were systematically questioning everyone present about their potential contacts with law enforcement. "Someone in this room is talking to the FBI," Vincent Torino announced to the group, "and we're going to find out who it is tonight." Dean realized that he was potentially moments away from being identified as the informant and murdered on the spot. Using his entertainer's skills, Dean managed to deflect suspicion by appearing relaxed and even making jokes about the paranoia in the room. "Vince, if I was working with the FBI, do you think I'd be stupid enough to show up here tonight?" Dean said with a laugh. "I'd be in Hawaii drinking Mai Tais and staying as far away from you guys as possible." Dean's performance was convincing enough to deflect immediate suspicion, but the incident made it clear that his undercover work was becoming too dangerous to continue indefinitely. The FBI and Dean agreed that his active intelligence gathering would be concluded after one final operation designed to gather evidence about the highest levels of organized crime leadership. This operation required Dean to attend a summit meeting of crime family leaders from across the western United States. The meeting was scheduled to take place during a weekend when Dean was performing at the Desert Inn, providing perfect cover for his presence in Las Vegas. Dean attended the secret gathering and was able to provide the FBI with detailed intelligence about criminal organizational structures, planned operations, and leadership hierarchies that had never been documented before. Dean's final intelligence report led to coordinated federal raids across 6 states, resulting in 47 arrests and the effective dismantling of organized crime operations that had been responsible for murders, drug trafficking, human trafficking, and massive financial crimes. Agent Dino's 3-year operation was one of the most successful undercover intelligence gathering efforts in FBI history. Agent Morrison reported to his superiors. His contributions led directly to convictions that put some of America's most dangerous criminals in federal prison for life. Dean Martin's FBI cooperation remained classified for decades after the operations concluded. Even his closest friends and family members had no idea that he had spent 3 years risking his life as a federal intelligence asset. When the story of Dean's undercover work was finally declassified in the 1990s, it revealed a side of his character that few people had ever suspected. Behind the smooth entertainer persona was someone with the courage and intelligence to take on organized crime at enormous personal risk. Frank Sinatra, when he learned about Dean's FBI cooperation years later, was amazed by his friend's secret heroism. "I always knew Dean was loyal and brave," Frank said, "but I had no idea he was putting his life on the line to fight organized crime. That takes a different kind of courage than anything we ever did on stage." Dean's undercover work also revealed his deep commitment to protecting innocent people from predatory criminals. His willingness to risk everything to help law enforcement stop human trafficking and child exploitation demonstrated values that went far beyond his entertainment career. Agent Dino understood that some things are more important than show business. Agent Morrison reflected years later. He saw people being hurt by organized crime, and he decided to do something about it, regardless of the personal cost. Dean Martin's 3 years as an FBI asset represent one of the most remarkable examples of civilian cooperation with law enforcement in American history. His intelligence gathering helped dismantle criminal organizations that had operated with impunity for decades, and his courage in maintaining his undercover work despite escalating danger saved countless lives. The King of Cool had proven that behind his sophisticated image was someone willing to become Agent Dino when justice and human lives were at stake. If this story of secret heroism and undercover courage moved you, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. Share this video with someone who understands that real heroes sometimes work in the shadows to protect society from its most dangerous elements. Have you ever known someone who had a secret life dedicated to helping others? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to check out our other videos about the hidden heroism that shapes our world.